what's happening historically with the woman in the eve of Islam, right? Here is the Prophet. The Sufis say that the Prophet ﷺ has said this. There were lots of things about him, but we have also a lot of things said about the Prophet that are negative from other sources, especially the Western sources and the Orientals. I'm going to try to talk to you about the women in the eve of Islam. Then I will talk about two women that were very important. Three women that were very important in the Prophet's life. Then we will go to the Abbasid era and just talk about few elite women. Then I will, if we have time, get to the lay popular woman, the Sufi woman, who gained her fame or her pious status not through because she is the wife of Harun al-Rashid or because she is the daughter of this or that. It was because of her piety. It is because of the verse of the Quran where it says the Muslim man, the Muslim woman, the pious woman. So that equality in spirituality, we will sense a little bit of it in the work I am translated, and there are other works before that. So women and female spirituality, or whatever the status of women in the eve of Islam, the religious setup, and I'm talking just historically. Women enjoyed full religious liberty at the coming of Islam and before Islam. They could accept or reject the new faith, independent of what their fathers, brothers, husbands, or suitors saw fit to do. And we have examples from the Prophet's family. A number of aunts of the Prophet ﷺ, girl cousins, followed the new faith, regardless of the antagonistic attitudes of their leading whatever kin. Like Abdul Muttalib, for instance. We have two examples that you probably heard of is the sister of Umar ibn Khitab. Umar ibn Khitab's sister, not Hafsa, that's his wife. Okay, so I'm sure you heard of Umar. He is the second Caliph after Abu Bakr. His sister embraced Islam before him. And one time, and he was known for his stern and strong, behavior. Also, when we mention the Khulafa, we always say after them, may Allah accept them, radiyallahu anhum. It's just a sign of respect. So for the Prophet, we say, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. For the Khalifs, we say, radiyallahu anhum. So the sister of Umar, she was actually the cause for him to become Muslim. As I said, he was a strong man, everybody feared him, and one day he was going by, somebody told him, go back to your sister's house, and she was doing with her husband. He came and she was reciting the Quran. They were so scared of him. He said, no, come back, show me, tell me. So she recited some Quran for him. Immediately he went right towards where the Prophet and his companions were, and the companions, one of them really was ready to pull his sword because they thought Umar was coming to kill the Prophet ﷺ. It turned out it wasn't the case. He converted to Islam. Yes.
Do we know her name?
Hafsa, the sister of Omar, Ramla, Habib, Fatima Bint al-Khattab. Yes, Fatima. Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't get her name. Al-Khattab is their last name. Okay. So again, she is very much ignored. As you see, the sources do not even, I mean, there is her name, but we just get to go. Fatima, I have her name, I'm sorry, Fatima Umar. So that's Fatima Bint Khitab. The other woman who was also influential in converting the third Caliph, Uthman. Okay? Third Caliph. Uthman ibn Affan is his daughter. Okay, so we have Bint Abu Sufian, Ramla, Habib, and this one also, she converted. She was from the first people who migrated to Abyssinia, and her husband actually became a Christian, but she stayed as a Muslim. We have also in here, it's the aunt of Uthman, the third Caliph of Islam, and she also went against her father Abu Sufyan, and she became a Muslim. She made also Ortman was influenced by her to become a Muslim. So just what I'm saying is, not only they had the freedom to be a Muslim or not a Muslim, they also influenced some eminent people in Islam that we see throughout history to become Muslim. So they have full religious liberty. The other thing is and this religious liberty did not happen without some suffering, because when you converted at that time, you lost the support of your clan. That means you are completely on your own. So this woman was as strong as those early convert men to take, Islam and stay with it. Yeah.
And again, do we know her name?
Which one?
I guess the aunt.
Yeah, the aunt Khalat Uthman ibn. We have the it's her nickname is Habib. They were named after their sons. Habib. Okay. And her name is Ramla, sand. Okay. I will give you more names. See, those are really like just mentioned. Anyway, they are important. We shouldn't say they are not that important, because that's what happened with the history of women, and that's what made us forget about them. And you completely tend to just always talk about them. So every one of them is important. Yes.
Saying full religious freedom.
Yeah.
Yes. Define that for me. I'm a little confused what that means. Were women not supposed to convert before the men? Were they being converted by the men?
Which means I think what happened is the women in pre-Islamic era were very, very free from what we saw. It's like, whatever a man can do, a woman can do. So if it happens that a woman encountered the message and felt that's what's good for her, then she went ahead and converted. It wasn't like getting actually you could really compare it to what's happening in the United States. We have cases in all over, in many states, American women, be it African American or white American, they just come out of curiosity to the Islamic Center, or they are invited to a house just by chance or whatever, or they pick up a copy of the Quran, and I have to work with a case where this woman has 3 children, just fell in love with Islam. She had to convert. She was crying because she said, but my 3 kids and my husband, I love them too. So there are some fanatics, they say, well, you have to leave them. Sister, you can't. I said, no. That's not the case, because at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, and I will tell you the story, one of his daughter, Zainab, was married to, before the Prophet's mission, and she converted her husband. They gave him a chance. She stayed with him until he fought against Islam. Then her father took her. When he was a captive, Zainab took the necklace that was given to her by her mother Khadijah, the most valuable thing that the Prophet's first wife had. She gave it to the Prophet as a ransom to free her husband. And the Prophet ﷺ felt his heart was broken. And the Sahaba around him looked and said, no, we won't take that away from her. Finally, the husband converted and she stayed with him. He remarried her in Islam. But in Islam, there are cases in Indonesia, in Malaysia, where women convert and they are married. And the fatwa is, as long as the man does not interfere with you, like he doesn't make you drink, he doesn't make you break your fast, he doesn't interfere with your religion, and as long as he believes in God, it doesn't matter, he's considered, so you don't have to do that. So, but that's happening, yes.
So what I was curious about, the two women you're mentioning, you keep saying, well, they had full religious freedom.
Right.
Like it was a big, a bigger deal. They had, or you were mentioning. So was the controversial aspect of their conversion that she was married to a Christian man?
No, I think what I'm alluding to is, like, for instance, as I told you yesterday, there's only one sin that's punishable by death. It is when you are a Muslim, you can't go back. It's a one-way street. So in that time, they didn't have that problem. So if you are a Muslim, if you convert, if you make that decision, or if you accept it, you cannot go back. I don't know if you can label it as religious freedom or not, but that's probably why when people write that, they probably put it in our time that, well, people do whatever they want, but according to what the Islamic tenets, you cannot do that. Okay. So we have also, as I said, their involvement resulted in the conversion of Uthman, and also there is another jurist, he's very famous, Anas ibn Malik, and his mother Salim also had an effect on him. And slaves also, in spite of losing their privilege with their masters, these are slave women, they did convert to Islam, and they did had really a hardship, but they still stayed. We have the first Muslim woman is Khadijah. Okay, and they also had a great kind of influence on spreading Islam. If about the, you probably studied about Hijrah. The word Hijrah, it's the, what is the word Hijrah? Did you hear of?
Migration.
Yeah, the migration. Okay, when the Prophet ﷺ migrated, well, there are some people who went with him. Among these people, there were women who went with him. Before going, they had a treaty signed to allow him to go to Medina. Well, in that treaty, there were two women present who signed the treaty with the Ansar. So we don't have much about them, but they do exist, and they were part of the people who welcomed the Prophet ﷺ to come to Medina. The women who went with the Prophet, who left Mecca to Medina or to Abyssinia, they were followed by their brothers or husbands or whatever to get them back, because the treaty did not say that if these women left, they can leave, but it didn't say we should not give them back. So the woman went to the Prophet ﷺ, and the Prophet ﷺ supported them. He did not give them back. They stayed, and that's where a verse from the Quran was revealed about the Muslim woman cannot marry a non-Muslim man. We have about slaves, the first slave woman to convert to Islam, her name is Kulthum. she was followed by her brother, and he asked the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam to give her back to them, but the Prophet refused.